I have Russian Protestants and I have Catholics from other side. So I grew up with both religions, and so.
Physically, what do you do? Like, do you? I just want to hear like.
I don't know that both religions in that sense are like faithful to, because like my understanding of like Russian Catholics would be that like you're talking more like Orthodox. So
Russian Protestants basically, well, yeah, not Catholics, no, but Catholics from Latvian side, but Russian Protestants from other side.
Oh, Russian, the Protestant. Okay.
So whether you're Protestant or Catholic or any other denomination of Christian, I think that the idea is that it's still founded in Christianity, no?
I don't believe in religion. We all have higher power. Come on, all of us believe there's someone there, up there.
That's incorrect.
Okay.
Yeah, I think these two individuals think that there's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that there is no God. No,
I would love to believe that there is a God. If there were a God, and if I were to meet a God, I would have.
But there's higher power. That's what I'm saying.
We understand that you believe that there is a higher power, but I'm trying to say that, and I also as well believe this, but these two, or I guess like the host does not believe that there's a higher power, and I think Mark might have scrolled past the live again.
I hope he's not banned.
No, I don't think he's banned. Yeah, no, he's back again.
I vehemently apologize. I don't know what the deal is.
I think TikTok is glitching right now.
TikTok is on crack all this fucking time. Anyways.
Pretty much at this point.
I think we all agree with that.
The stupid part is I live in Kansas City, which is a Google Fiber like test zone, so I'm supposed to have like 1 gig of uninterrupted internet at all times. But anyway, I would love to believe in religion. I've again fought my entire life to find religion. I have found in no space anyone or anywhere who has been able, not even just to like convince me, but like any convincing argument for a Christian.
But that's what I was telling. That's what I was saying. The same thing. I don't believe in the
God,
religion.
let alone any God. But like the idea is just like it is all bullshit. It just strikes me.
Bullshit, but there's higher power.
A higher power, like
I can't call it God. I can't call it God, but there's higher power. Can we agree with that?
No. Again, that would be like a lovely like consolation prize for me, but like that there is somebody who's like moving the fate dice or something like that.
No, not like that.
Like spirit, do you Shadow, do you mean more like spirituality? Where there's like something. Okay. Yeah. So it's more like spirituality.
No, I caught that. My mom has told me that she's seen Jesus before, like above the deathbed of her sister who passed away. And I've experienced like a couple things that I would consider but those things are like at the tops of mountains or during music or this, that, and the
Yes.
other thing. And
Yes.
I can personally consider those things like spiritual or moving or transcendent. I've been on shrooms and thought that I felt it, but I think that
So you believe in that? So there you go. Me and Mark agrees with something.
I might agree that there's like there's like an undercurrent, but what I consider it again is more of like water. I consider it more of like there is an underflowing current that connects all of humanity, whether you're passed away or not yet born. There is like a human spirituality piece, but that has nothing to do with any deity anywhere. And if anything, those things that man has created, like a Christian God or a Muslim God or a Jewish God or most things outside of Eastern religion, other than like contentment or peace or whatever, that you're talking about a false idol.
So
No,
would
like
it be more so
I
like
respect everybody's opinion. Everybody have their own opinion. I respect their own opinion, their own religion. I don't have nothing against it.
Yeah.
So would it be more so like Mark, that you think that there's like a societal aspect of like connecting humanity, or is it like a connection of like empathy towards each other?
Empathy is a really good word for it. I think that's kind of what you experience when you do things like fungi, which is that like you connect yourself to the natural world and you see things like trees breathing, right? And you can feel that. And that gives you more of a spiritual sense of like people who are above and below ground.
Sorry, I think Mark, you have the doubling of voice. I don't know why. That is maybe have the problem in the voice. Maybe I don't know. That is doubling.
I can agree that there is a divinity to it, but there is nothing ever anywhere that resembles a god.
So is it like Mark, are you a naturalist? Like I'm guessing you are.
No, I don't even necessarily know what that means.
Yeah, so I like a naturalist essentially means that like everything that we are is based in like the earth. Like the only thing that we like the knowledge we gain, everything like comes from just like the properties of like what we know about the earth and the universe and stuff like that. And there's like really no divine intervention behind it.
I guess I could ascribe to that, but here's what I'll give you, which is that like what you're getting closer to me is like ghosts, because matter.
Okay, so
Hold on.
wait.
That spurred so many reactions. Hold on 1 second. I will just say the one thing, which is that matter can be neither created nor destroyed, so that when you die, your energy goes somewhere.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah.
The only like stipulation I have is like, does that manifest in like the electrical impulses that we see with other humans, and maybe that like represents itself in a different way?
Yeah,
really
I'll give you that.
That is you must
like,
believe.
when
If you're a
feel-
Catholic or you're Protestant, you believe if the Father is Jesus and the Holy Spirit, right? That is Holy Spirit. It's not a ghost, right? If you believe the Protestant, if you believe the Jesus.
No. If anything, it would be more of like I smelled a smell. Like my grandmother has never been to the Grand Canyon, but when I went to the this is not my experience. I've never been to the Grand Canyon, But like, if I went to the Grand Canyon and I like smelled my grandmother, I would be like, oh, she's like kind of here right now.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying, but like, I guess like my main disagreement with that is like if we're talking about like ghosts, like I mean, and you think that like there's no like divine intervention,
Okay,
where would it come into play that like where would it come into play that the physical matter of what we are isn't like consumed by the earth once we die, or like decomposed and like converted into the original elements of our body, and then the electrical impulses, which are like formed by like ionic like differences, or like the, what is it called?
I would say
You
that
know when
most
like
of it is.
ions like go back and forth across each other and they create electrical impulses. That's what I'm talking about. Like those dissipate once we die, and so they don't convert into anything. Like there's still a form of like energy, but they dissipate and decompose into like the original elements.
Yeah.
I think that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so like my question is like, how would that like manifest itself into, or maybe I'm confused. Do you believe in ghosts, or is that like, is it yes or no for that question? Because I don't see how like ghosts could like, or like spirits or whatever you want to call it, can like really form if we
No. I don't. I'm just saying that like that's how.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like if I were to correlate it to a thing, it would be that, right? It would be one.
Yeah.
There's like a really funny Aziz Ansari joke about how there's like no new ghosts. How there's like no ghosts that are like post 1980s who are just like texting and asking you for your Wi-Fi password. They're all supposedly like Victorian or whatever, which is funny. But like the idea is that like no, I don't believe in spirituality, gods, ghosts, anything.
Oh, okay.
But like if it were to like the idea of like your soul, your spirit were to like if that could be quantified as an energy, it would then, you're right, when you pass away, your grandmother's like, yes, her body and most of her energy atoms, whatever, would probably be like disappear into the ground, they would be gone or whatever. But if you were to like get a pang of it randomly, it's kind of like how people feel like deja vu, right? Like the idea is that like this is a quote unquote like a random feeling, right? You would get like a smell or a feeling or something randomly when you were in a place that is unassociated with that person. It was not something you cognizantly did, but like you could still get it, or it would hit you and you would be like, oh, she's like here right now. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that feeling. That's all that I'm saying.
So what your opinion, Gamer, is about that? I think that is, you believe the religions, you don't believe about ghosts, right?
I do not believe in ghosts, which is really funny because I only have.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's I can believe it's have the ghost, but it's if you
Hold on.
you know, if you
can I show you something real quick? I do not believe in ghosts, but I have one tattoo. Can I show you that tattoo real quick?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This is the only tattoo that I have on my body.
It's only one tattoo?
I only have one. And this
That
is the only
like
tattoo.
a ghost. Yeah. You believe that is ghost? Oh my god, that is crazy. You believe the Jesus, but you believe the ghost.
I'm more of a Halloween person. But yeah. Funny. I don't believe in ghosts, but I have a ghost tattoo.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I see. Okay, so what do you think is about
I'm not
that?
sure if she got pregnant or not. I don't know. I didn't know. Like, I heard her talking, and then like 10 seconds later, I saw she wasn't there anymore. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, if somebody get
Like
banned,
she's a ghost. Ooh.
no, came across the screen. If she get banned, anybody who get bananas came across the screen. So that's why I was wondering. Anyways, what's your opinion, gamer?
On what?
On ghosting and religion?
We would love to hear your opinion. It depends on the specifics of the conversation, to be honest. I mean, I'm very broad when it comes to religion. As much
I
as
got you.
I've
Hold on, I got you. Where do we go when we die?
I don't think there's any way for us to really know that.
Mm-hmm.
At least objectively. I'd like to believe that there's. I like to believe that there is something more than us. I do believe that there is something more than us. Whether or not if that something is let's go with the scientific route. Reincarnation could be scientific. If matter cannot be created nor destroyed, when we're quote unquote replicating our DNA and expanding ourselves, maybe we expand into the next form of whatever our genetic makeup allows us to be. Maybe it's a spiritualistic thing where I mean we've already talked about the quote unquote God particle, for example, like the Higgs boson. I think that's a very interesting concept. Neurologists studying the brain and looking to be able to identify the soul. The fact that we've been able to come up with ideas that can conceptualize that is incredible. And I think that it shows some validity within certain religious contexts that maybe they had a better understanding historically in comparison to what we know now because we have more science than they did.
Yeah.
So
can I just say real quick, like
I like religion.
Is also the reincarnation is also the closest thing that I believe in. That is so crazy that you said that because what you just said is kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Like, I'm definitely not like atheist or agnostic. Like, I'm not saying that, oh, well, I'm questioning everything because of this. Like, I have my own personal beliefs, but my personal beliefs are not very binary in the religious sense. Like, it's like looking at Catholics versus Christians, right? Like, seeing that Christians broke off from the Catholic Church to create the Christian religion is insane to me that they would even battle each other about religion, because the end of the top of the pyramid is the exact same in both religions. They just get mad. And one side of the religion climbs up the left side of the pyramid, and the other religion climbs up the fucking right side. It's insane.
I don't think that Western religions have it right, man. I think Western religions is as far from religion as you can get, which is just crazy to me.
Yeah, I just find it genuinely interesting, and I think that as human beings, to be perfectly honest, from a moral and ethical standpoint, I think that there are a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean all caps, a lot of very positive moral and ethical applications that apply within within religious concepts. And I think as human beings, that's kind of where our righteousness kind of comes from, is that we believe ourselves to be this higher level being on this planet to where everything else besides us is lesser than us. And that's kind of why I respect Native Americans, because they are naturalistic and spiritualistic. And I think that that's a very good center ground for having like a religious vibe, as well as respecting your surroundings and treating it like equals. Because I think for someone to say that I'm a human, I'm better than you, and a bear comes and beats your ass and kills you and eats you, I tell you, you're probably not better than they are. And I don't want to be that way, and I don't want my family to be that way. So that's just kind of, it's just kind of where I'm at with it.
I'm gonna 100% ascribe to what he just said, which is that like my family, just everything has kind of just like led me to that conclusion of.
Okay,
Wait, one second.
The new person.
Real quick. We create heaven and hell for each other on this planet. And the only thing that we are guaranteed is the time that we have. And so, regardless of what you believe, the only objective goal that we have is to make life better for ourselves and the people around us. And so we create heaven and hell on earth for each other, and we will not be guaranteed anything other than that. So I have zero respect, none, if anything less than, for people who live their lives according to some sort of creed that sort of ascribes them some sort of moral reward for the afterlife based on some sort of hedging of bets, especially when it has to do with how you do not treat other people. I'm going to bring it back to most Christians do not ascribe to Christianity and believe in love thy neighbor. You would never prevent another person from getting married, from judging another person by their race, color, creed, lifestyle, anything, tattoos, shellfish, any of it. You would never live your life that way if there were an afterlife. You would never treat another person with a sword or defend yourself with a shield based on anything, not even a religion. You would never do that. And that is the only thing that I have ever seen religion used as, is either a sword or a shield.
Get new person's opinion, please.
Yeah. Sorry. I want to hear you all if your opinion is about the Muslim, because if so many people maybe in America or Europe, they always thinking if the Muslim is like a terrorist, then if so many people don't like if have friends like me because I'm Muslim. So that's why I think that is it's very ridiculous. It's about
fear-mongering.
Muslim. So what do you think is about that?
I think it's very obvious that we are highly social, up-jump apes with a superiority complex. Very tribalistic. Always have been. We create others so that we can protect our own in-group. And that leads to atrocities and discrimination, persecution. And I think religion is just another thing that adds to that poor quality.
You're correct.
Absolutely.
As far as Islam goes, I don't think it's any different than the other religion in that it's evidently not true. So I don't persecute people for their beliefs. I may challenge or question their beliefs, but I believe there's an accountability of their actions because they affect other people. So thoughts begat beliefs, which begat actions, which have consequences on others. And I believe in trying to maximize flourishing and minimize suffering for as many humans as possible. And I don't think old superstitious books that are obviously wrong, many of their claims, are the way to get there. I think we need solidarity and seeking truth, real truth.
Because according to that, almost everyone goes to hell.
Well, if you look at Pascal's wager, it says, believing is better than not, because what have you got to lose? But
I should go to hell.
You're statistically more likely to end up in a different religion's hell than your own heaven, especially when you get denominational discrepancies.
See, by the Old Testament, I should be going to hell. By the New Testament, I shouldn't be.
There's no hell in the Old Testament.
We're all going to hell.
The Jewish people didn't persecute dead.
Old Testament I don't know about another. By Christianity, the Testament says about the LGBTQ. I'm lesbian. Old Testament specify male and female. New one doesn't.
Well, the Old Testament, the Jewish people didn't persecute the dead. You went to lay with your elders or your ancestors or however they worded it. But it wasn't until gentle Jesus, meek and mild, did they bring in the idea of eternal punishment for finite crimes, quote unquote crimes. And the thing about homophobic verse in Leviticus, I think, was reinterpreted in the 30s or 40s. It used to be, a man shall not lie with a child as he would with a woman.
Oh, hell no. Children off limit.
That's correct.
No, but yes, I believe if you have the choice in your life,
Well, the Bible doesn't say anything about lesbians.
No.
The Bible doesn't say anything about LGBTQ.
No, it doesn't. In
Old Testament in my country does.
It doesn't.
Well, it was changed.
Old Testament my country does.
It doesn't.
What does it say? In which version of the Bible?
I don't know what exactly it does say. Well, my mom kind of is okay, right? With what I prefer and everything. She's old school. But she's a history teacher, and the children at school brought this subject up. And really religious child is saying the Old Testament, and my mom did the research, and yes, in Old Testament, what we have available in my country says it's male and female.
It doesn't say
King
that.
James or which?
It specifically specifies male and female should be together.
It doesn't say that.
Okay.
Well, it's been interpreted. It can be interpreted to hold any position that you like.
But like I said, it can be translated. Like my language is Latvian, original language, and Russian.
Baltic.
So
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
it could be translated different ways. You know that.
That doesn't mean anything.
And in my country and in Russia, like in Latvia and in Russia, LGBT, it's really not acceptable.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that your country says that. What I'm saying is that the Bible doesn't say that, and even if it were, it wouldn't matter.
But like I met the people from the country as Jocelyn or Phil.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I pronounce
name is Josel.
Giselle, right?
Yeah, Josel. Yeah, all right.
Do I pronounce it right? Giselle? Josel? Okay.
All right. Yeah, Josel. Yeah, Josel. All right.
I worked with a lot of Indian nurses, and I have friends in Albania who are Muslim. And
actually, I'm from Indonesia. I'm from Indonesia, but I'm living in China because it's my family. It's China. Yeah.
Okay, but I kind of know their ways, and What about people who are born differently, like me?
Yeah.
What about the woman who prefers woman, and what about man who prefers man? In your religion, it's not acceptable. It's
That's what I'm saying. Is it's bullshit.
They're persecuted under Sharia. Now there may be some cultures that are more lenient, but I tend to judge a religion's beliefs or ideologies by the fundamentalist actions.
I worked with a lot of Indian nurses, and there was like from childhood there was arranged marriage. You know, the parents decided you should be with that person, but if the person is, you know, different gender, like not gender, different preference. You know, if the man wants man, if the female wants female, it's like how that works.
Again, what we're arriving at is that it's bullshit. Is that it does not matter.
I was asking to Jocelyn.
Okay.
Sorry. Can you answer, please?
Do you have arranged marriage in your culture?
Yeah. You know, as Shadow, even we Muslim, because that is LGBT, that is I'm sorry, I'm talking that, but this you have the choice in your life, and I respect to you. But as because it's we Muslim, they LGBT, that is no. I think we must be, that is normal, we male and female. But if you know. But I respect to you. That is your choice. If you definitely you're lesbian, right? But that is okay. That is for you. So, and I always use respect with each other. But the
thing is, I met Muslim women who loves women. I met Muslim men who likes men. And when they travel to another countries, then they being free.
If you met a Muslim woman, that is, I think, I don't know, because if
they was fighting,
that is crazy, because there's so many people. If that is here, if I'm Muslim, I met you, that is nothing problem. Is I think it's like is we cannot be friends, but it's nothing else. Is we just friends, you know. If you meet in another country with a woman that is Muslim and you love her, but it's, I think, maybe, I don't know, but it's, if me, that is no problem.
But it's thought of as like a perversion. It's thought of as like a wrongness, and we're gonna like witness over the next, I don't know, couple decades or so, all of those like social norms fall apart, and we're going to watch religions find a way, just as both the Christian and Catholic churches have, to excuse it or find a way in scripture where it's like, oh no, this is like actually like kind of like fine or whatever, because that is what society pushes it.
But the thing is, the world going to fucking fucks, because they're going to fucking genders. There's only fucking two genders.
So what you're doing now is like belying that point with your own bias. Is that there's only like that. This is what it always comes down to. Is like what does society accept at this time, and
sex and gender are not the same.
Sex and gender are not the same. Sex and gender are not the same. And if there is one like compliment that I can give the United States, is that at least we are able to like have these fights, and we can have these sort of like societal norm like debates and things where most of society is like, we like today the United States passed interracial and same-sex gender marriage.
Codified.
It codified it, yes.
Because the fundamentalist Christians want to eliminate it. As I said, I think we should judge the behaviors of the religious by their fundamentalists.
Right.
Because they are fundamentally following the religion to the letter.
And so that language then shifts, and we are able to then call people who do not recognize that as fascist or as bigots or whatever. So because the language of the United States shifts more rapidly because we have more people who are able to, like, I don't know, societally, like, grapple with that. Like, again, like,
only about half.
Yeah, like hippies, progressive, leftists, or whatever. Like none of these things are new. All of these movements have existed in other countries, but because the industrial nation of the United States has sort of, like, pushed these arguments forward, we participate more in the internet, or whatever, like whatever you want to say, whatever societal advancements you want to. Oh, there's more electric cars, more people are on the internet, blah 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 blah. Like those debates are now separate because humanity as an entity, it is more participating in intra like mind arguments as opposed to like human needs of, like, food or water. Like, food and water need to be solved before mental arguments can be had. And so because the United States is more and as the internet evolves and all of these things, like,
okay, I have a question.
Do you agree with
pronouns?
The United States is not progressive. Half of the population.
Do you agree with the pronouns?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Our country is center right at best.
That describes the Democratic Party. And then you've got
yes, I agree with that. As a leftist, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is,
you agree with the pronouns?
Go ahead.
Do you agree with the pronouns?
Pronouns?
So
what do you mean? Do I agree with pronouns? Of course, I agree with pronouns.
It's not like she and him.
Yes, that's those. So this is the debate that I'm talking about.
So you agree with that? They, them, all that.
Yes.
Just respect the human and call them what they want to. What's the big deal? If you can't sort the pronoun thing out, then just use their name. It's a human being.
So you and I are participating in a different debate than she and I are participating in, and that's literally what I'm saying.
No, it's just normal question.
No, it's not.
Can I not ask the question?
What is the issue with pronouns in your mind?
I asked the question, that's all. Do you agree with the pronouns?
It's not something that you need to agree or disagree with.
Yes, I agree with respecting humans.
No, hold on. Wait. Hold on. Can I what is your name? Scroogeus?
Scroogeus, yeah. Thank you.
Just give me 1 second.
Cool.
Pronouns are not something that you need to agree or disagree with. They are a matter of fact. What are you asking? I know I'm asking a facetious question, Scroogeus. Just let
I see what you're doing.
Okay, cool. I love you, brother. Thank you. Pronouns are a matter of fact. What question are you asking?
Like, do you agree to call somebody they?
Of course. Why would I not?
Okay, that's all what I ask.
I found a wallet on the street. I don't know who owns it. I'm going to leave it here for them, and I hope they find it. What's the problem?
Mr. Mac, I found my teacher's wallet. Oh, did you check their ID? Can you tell, like, what is their name?
I find it easy to extend another human being, no matter how they present or how they dress or the color of their hair, who they love. I find it easy to respect them as a human.
Right. So what he and I are doing is the problem solving that you find so difficult, Shadow.
What do you mean?
You were asking if he and I can, or them and I can even wrap.
What's the simple question? Do you agree to call somebody they? That's all what I ask.
We have already said yes.
Yes, so there's no any more questions.
Oh, perfect. Great. I love that. Because I don't necessarily know what people in your life call you. I'm gonna call you Shadow. That's that's easier for me. I can have my thoughts on what your voice sounds like, but
the thing is, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Okay, but the thing is, yes, exactly. You understand? I got in the situation, it's like you offend me, you don't call me by the proper pronouns. I was like, what? I'll call you by your name. Oh no, you didn't say. I identify they them. Like, I didn't know that.
Bro, don't talk to me like that. Hey, bro, don't talk to me like that. Like,
like a bean in.
Yeah.
There's very few people that are going to be super aggressive about it unless you keep misgendering them. But if they say, "Hey, I identify as this," and you make the best effort you can. But they didn't say it
before, eh? They didn't say it before, eh?
Some people aren't as pleasant as others. You can't.
They just assume that I will know.
It's one person.
So the idea behind it is, the idea behind it is, I don't care whether you're black, white, tall, short, muscular, non-muscular, whatever. If you ask me to call you John and refer to you by he, him pronouns, I'm going to do my best to do that. I might misgender you, but the people who in my life who have transitioned, or whether or not they have transitioned or not, 6-7 months ago, was just walking through a Trader Joe's, met what I thought was a random person, was like, "Excuse me, brother," because I just say that. For whatever reason, I just say brother. I really don't. Hold on, I really don't know why. "Excuse me, brother."
Yeah.
And she was like, "My name's Sissy," or something like that. I use she, her pronouns. I'm like, "Hey sis, I'm like really sorry," or like whatever. And like it became like such a non-issue. The people who give, wait. The people who give the least of a shit about being misgendered are trans people, because they are used to it. They put up with so much more misgendering in their entire lives. They know more about hormones, hormone treatment, sexual transition, this, that, and the other thing, than anyone in this live will ever know, because they actually go through. I use the same argument for abortion. The women, I've sat in an abortion clinic in Nebraska with my high school girlfriend who got an abortion. She had to not only get parent permission, she had to get permission from her pastor.
Oh God.
Go to an abortion clinic and then have to come back several days later, fill out the most psychologically exhausting test, because I sat next to her as she did it. The most grueling experience of my life. I witnessed adult men ask her questions that you would never be able to ask anyone to their face. Of did you are you not are you a slut, but how many partners have you had? Go through the most grueling process I've ever imagined. Trans people have to go through the most grueling process. I cannot even imagine what they have to go through and understand and do over such a long process. You do not do that without intention and without a grueling amount of beratement from society. You will never convince me to not ask or tell somebody if they say I go by she they pronouns or they them pronouns or whatever. I'm gonna do my best. I can guarantee, as a cishet white man from Nebraska, I might misgender you. They will always weather that storm. I have no quarter. I have no sympathy for people who are like, do you believe in pronouns? Fuck that bullshit. You do not have to believe in pronouns to call somebody what they want. You call me Mark. My name is not Mark. My actual name is not Mark.
Wait, guys. I put my comment on for a minute, and you tell me I'm a female or male or transgender or whatever. Assume.
Oh.
What's up, bro?
Nice.
To me, it looks like you present as a female. I think you said you were a lesbian. I don't know.
Does your dick hang to the right or the left?
Oh boy.
Left.
Oh, you're it. Oh, okay. My God. So, you one is
man
call you
or they them.
That is like a man, but it's your female, right? But if it's transgender. If I call you brother, or because I don't know, because it's your transition, it's already man, right? That is I call you, that is brother.
If I'm reaching for asparagus,
there you go. There is the confusion. There you go.
If I'm reaching for asparagus in the same grocery store, and I say, "Excuse me, brother."
There's the point. There's the confusion.
No, and that's what I'm saying. That's literally what I'm saying to you. Is if I'm reaching for asparagus in the same grocery aisle as you, I for whatever reason, you're grabbing asparagus, I'm behind you, I am also grabbing asparagus. I'm just flying through the market. I'm trying to grab whatever I need for this. I want to grab asparagus, garlic, and steak for the dinner that night. And if I reach around you and I grab asparagus and I say, "Excuse me, brother," you have short hair and a hat on.
But exactly.
I'm not looking at your face. And I grab it and I'm saying, "Excuse me, brother." But so you're kind of running into my point, which is, if a trans person who identifies by she, they, them, she, her pronouns, and I say that to her, not to you, that person would be more accepting of me misgendering them than you are right now.
No, I'm no problem. misgender me. I'm just saying that I come across with people who, like, I misgender them and they, like, really came at me. How dare you?
How many people are we talking about?
Or how dare you?
When did that happen to you, and how many times has that happened to you?
More than my fucking 10 fingers.
Oh,
Wow, that's extraordinary.
wow.
Yeah.
The majority of US LGBTQ
I'm not in
people
USA. I'm not.
I've misgendered a few.
All over Europe.
Tidak.
I'm a cisgender white man, and I think I've done it 3 times on accident, and I've done it to my friends multiple times. More times than I can count. I've literally called a friend who publicly transitioned. I've done it. I've been like, his name was Chris, and I've just been like he or like I've done it to people I know so many times. I can't even count it. I literally can't even count it. And they do not that they do not care, because I'm sure that it hurts, but I will always correct myself, or they've asked, or I've been corrected, and I've corrected myself. And also, that costs me nothing. That costs me nothing as a cis-het white man to be like, oh, sorry. Like, I'll just rattle off and then give them a hug and move on. I've done that to strangers in the grocery store. Why can you not do that?
I have a fucking question.
I have a question also.
Okay, so give me a second.
Why you call your cis? Why?
Because she's not trans.
Because she's not. Yeah. Because no, you're right. Actually, no. Shadow is right. Actually, I should stop referring to people as sir and ma'am and sis and brother. But that's kind of like what I grew up doing, and that is my fault. And I can change my language with limited impact on me. I grew up calling my father and mother sir and ma'am. It's like,
I know that in America that you have that, yeah.
Yeah. And in the Midwest especially, you're taught like a certain amount of like I'll like defer to.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I know that in America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so I keep
hearing that from my fucking friends.
So what I've started to do,
yes, sir.
I've literally just started to like call people boss. I'm like, sup, boss, or like.
But I don't agree when the normal man saying that he's cis man.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
He's a man.
No, that's bullshit.
No, that's bullshit. You might be a trans man.
But everybody have their own opinion, so that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I wonder if this sort of aggressive attitude that you have towards the pronouns doesn't bring some tension towards you when you have these encounters with trans people or with non-binary people or people who use
I have friends
you're exactly correct.
I have friends who are trans. No problem. If the female was born female and transferred being a male, she's a male. Like from it's him.
Hang on.
So what you're belying, you're
I'm sorry, give me this cat.
You're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself because you consider people who were AFAB or AMAB, which is assigned female at birth or assigned male at birth, that because they agree with the gender that the doctor
when they transfer, when they do the hormones,
that the doctor spanked their ass and they cried and they're like, this kid has a little dingle. That's a boy. And this person doesn't have a little dingle, so they're a girl. I agree with the doctor that assigned them their gender at birth. I agree with them. And so I'm going to call them what I think they are. You're belying your own inner transphobia, which is to say that because I'm a cishet white man, I grew up in rural Nebraska, which is a hick-ass state in the United States. If you don't, it's smack dab in the middle. It's rows of corn and nothing else. And so because I grew up there and because I agree with the gender that the doctor called me when I was born, that I'm somehow normal or regular or typical or whatever, and because other people who are born and hate the body that they were born in, or have thought or dreamt or had of like, hey, I actually don't think I belong in this body. I as a man cannot begin to imagine what that would be like. Can any of you imagine what it would be like to not belong in your own skin? Have you ever felt
kind
that?
of because I'm bipolar?
I actually don't want Shadow to weigh in on this because Shadow's being defensive. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Joshelle, Scurtius, Gamer Dad.
Okay.
Have you ever felt that you do not belong in your own skin?
Sometimes because I'm bipolar, but I want to say something very important. The doctor does not write boy or girl. They write male or female, which is sex. And that is not the same as gender.
Love it.
Gender
Love it. I'm just asking for that dysphoria sense. Have you ever felt that you do not belong in your skin, Gamer Dad?
Yeah, I think that is.
Wait.
We're gonna go about 5 more minutes, and then we're gonna be done for the morning. Are you talking to me?
Okay.
Have you ever felt that you did not belong in your own skin?
In my own skin? Yeah, I kind of questioned it when I went to a particular school and got beat up every day because of my skin. So, yeah, probably.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for admitting that. I appreciate you and I love you. Joshelle, have you ever felt that you did not belong in your own skin?
That is, I think, it seems like, if me, that is my skin, that is, that is my skin. I'm female. Yeah, that is female. So I want to give the question is for Zero. If you have the sibling, so if your sibling will call you the brother or call you the sister. I'm sorry, I'm talking that, but it's I respect to you. Anyway.
Who are you asking?
Shadow.
Okay.
Shadow.
Yes.
How does Shadow identify?
I agree with your thing.
I
agree. I agree with something. Sheik of respect. I was born, as a lesbian, and she agrees with that. That's right, Jocelyn?
Yeah.
I was born that way, and you was born that way. So.
Yeah, your sexual preference is not a choice. You're born that way. But the point is,
even that is you talk to me if about the born difference, okay? It's maybe that is your feeling that is born different.
You weren't born that
right?
way.
Yeah.
You weren't born that way.
I was.
No, you weren't.
No, I didn't want.
No, you weren't.
Happening?
So you want to tell me that I wasn't born that way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadow, is
Really?
that not what you're doing with trans people? Do you see the hypocrisy here? They're a human being. It doesn't matter if they're in the fat part of the bell curve of the population spread or on the very end.
I
They're
don't.
still a human.
Wait, you now misinterpret English, my fucking foreign language.
Okay.
I can't say. Misinterpreting. Yeah.
You got it.
I don't have fucking problem with the trans people. Absolutely no problem. I have friends, trans people.
Then I'm very
If you're
confused.
born female, you took your, whatever medicine and you transferred to man, no problem. If you're born male, you transfer to female, no problem.
No, you don't transfer to female, because male and female is sex, and sex and gender are different. Man, woman is gender. Male, female is biological sex.
I'm not talking at the moment about that. I'm talking about trans people.
I'm just trying to correct your language because this is important. This is an important part of the conversation. And it's misinterpreted and it's misspoken about.
Well,
I'm not getting down on you. I'm just
language.
I understand, and I'm not getting down on you, but I think it's important that we use the right terms when we're talking about humans.
I have transgender people in my friends.
He'll be back.
As my friends.
It just said that it dropped him because he broke community guidelines.
Oh, he got banned.
Yeah.
What the heck happened?
I was looking at my computer screen and it just kind of like.
If the host got that means he got banned. But yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem. With absolutely no problem.
So what's the problem with the pronouns?
Pronouns is a different story.
Well, we all use pronouns.
No, no, the thing is, I can say the pronouns, no problem. But the people who don't tell me before it, blame me.
There's rude and angry people everywhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's because it's all the war. So many people. It's like years, because they have to, it's born different. They told it's born different, but that if you have to be transgender is, year is to be male, and I think that is more difficult. It's for other people outside years staying there in your city. Maybe that is look at you, why that is your is lesbian, because if all the world that is not right, that is wrong way, right? But so many people have the choices for life. Yeah, it's like yours too.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people who get angry to me that I didn't assume their pronouns. There's the point.
In that circumstance, I would simply say, I'm sorry I misgendered you. What do you prefer?
Oh,
I will try to use that, and I will make mistakes. And if you would be gentle and I will work towards.
There's the point. A lot of people don't get it. They just don't get it.
Straight people don't get it?
No. When they say, hi man, I was like, no, I'm not a man. My pronoun is they, them. I was like, sorry. I was like, why would you assume that? I was like, you didn't tell me. I see you the first time,
Well, take a breath before you respond. And say, ooh, okay. I see they're sensitive about that. Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to misgender you. I will try to use your pronoun, but may I have your name? Because that might be easier for me
Oh, it's definitely easier for me when, yeah. I have friends who I actually call by their name. It's easier for me. Yes. I agree with that.
It's just trying to extend courtesy and respect to another human.
So no is bad.
As you would want to have as well.
Sorry.
So hold on. Because I only have like a minute or two before I jump off here. So with the sentiment that you've been laying out, are you saying that you're not in support of creating legislation that would compel people to do it, and that if they did not do it, it would be considered an act of violence, which would then be a crime? Or do you support that if you do misgender somebody, it is considered an act of violence, which would then be a crime?
Are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in favor of forced speech.
So you just kind of want, so it's just kind of social pressure then?
I think that's how society moves forward. We can't legislate for every sort of scenario that comes up. I think we need to extend human rights and respect to all humans until they show that they don't deserve that, or they, break a proper law. But I don't think we can legislate morality or forced speech is anti-humanistic in my mind.
So what in your ideal sense is more important? Somebody's perceived self-worth or someone's perceived worth of those around them?
Well, if you can't have self-worth, I don't think you can contribute to the fabric of a productive society. If you're not,
but that doesn't answer my question.
You're not happy.
But that doesn't answer my question.
So I think
which one do you think is more important?
I think your self-worth is more important.
And who is it more important to?
To each individual.
Okay. So here's why this ideology is inherently flawed. Because what you're advocating for with this particular stance, and what normally people do with this social pressure thing, most people, at least in the US, most people are not like pro legislating like free speech, regardless if it's constitutional or not, like whatever. Like most people aren't for it. Like they hear the C-16 bill in Canada, they hear about the bills in California and the cities that are passing it, and they're primarily against all of it. However, if we're to identify that self-worth is only worth, it only has worth to the individual that is projecting their own self-worth to themselves, why are you advocating for someone to social pressure someone into acknowledging their own self-worth? Why is that okay? Meaning, if I identify as A and B, and my self-worth believes that I identify as A and B, why do I have the privilege or right to be able to say, you must or should acknowledge my own self-worth? Why is that okay?
I think it comes down to acknowledging somebody's humanity. Why would I want to deny anybody?
But part of your humanity is also your biology. Unless we're trying to say that your biology is less important than your own personal ideology.
I'm not sure why we're hung up on biology. There's 20 different combinations of the sex chromosomes. So what's in my pants or under my shirt makes no matter to my self-worth or anybody else.
But it does. That's kind of the disavowalment argument that I'm trying to argue, because it does have worth. And what people are doing is people are putting ideology as a hierarchical importance of value than the application or the tangibility of humans within a society. Meaning I care more about what I think and what you think versus what I do and you do. Because if I think one way and you think a different way, then I think that I have an inherent privilege or right, whatever person wants to skew the idea for themselves, wants to say that you should acknowledge what I believe to be inherently valuable on my end. But at the same time, you doing that makes other people's worth and what they value lesser than your own. And right. I think that that's very, very, very pretentious. I think it's humanly dishonest, personally. I think it shows the righteous privilege of the human race. And I think that that's why these arguments I have such problems with, because they are very conflicting ideologically. And if someone wants to be called something, that's fine.
Right.
That's perfectly fine. But you're only caring about your own self-worth to a degree. And once that degree is pushed to a level where it projects out from you onto someone else, is when it becomes an infringement of that other person's worth and value. That is inherently what that is. And I have a problem with that.
How does this affect others if I want to be called, say my name is Steve, and I say, hey, my name's Steve? How is that a projection of or an imposition on anybody else's rights or freedom or their humanity?
Because if I don't adhere to that, right, you find it problematic. And you also agreed, before I gave the analogy, that the self-worth was more important. And if I don't agree with what you believe to be your self-worth, you agreed that social pressure should be the way, not legislatively, but social pressure should be the way that we get people to be compelled to adhere to people's personal self-worth. That's what you said. That's what your ideology stated and what you agreed with. And the problem I have with that is I don't think anyone has a privilege to be able to project their own self-worth onto people. And that's what you just agreed at the beginning of the conversation with me that you would want to have happen. And I have a problem with that.
I would expect and desire that someone would respect me as a human as I would respect them as a human. If you have individuals in a society, in a social dependent society, that all feel badly or have low self-worth, you don't have a great society. So in order for this health of the group, you need individuals that are healthy and strong and have good mental states. And if somebody says to me, call me Steve, and I call them Bob, and that bothers them and degrades their feelings somehow, they have the choice whether to engage with me or not. And I have the choice whether to engage with them or not.
Exactly.
If I decide not to give them the self-respect or the respect as a fellow human, that's my choice.
Yeah, that's exactly right. However, that's not the reality, and that's what I want you to acknowledge, is because what you're talking about ideologically is the perfect world where both sides are acknowledging their own self-worth as individuals. They recognize people's self-worth, whether or not if they agree or disagree. There is a mutual understanding that both people do not have any measure to be able to push the ideology of their own self-worth onto others, and that if you think your self-worth is A, and I think your self-worth is B, so I call you B instead of A, we both have the right to be able to disengage from this conversation simply due to the fact that we have a conflicting ideology of our own self-worths. That's perfectly fine. However, social compulsion is what you agreed to try to get people to agree with other people's self-worth. That to me is very righteous as humans, and I think is actually not very humanly of us to begin with. And that's kind of where the confliction of this ideology is problematic for me. Because
how does social progress happen in any other way?
Through law. That's the point.
But it starts with social pressure.
No, it starts with legislative. It starts with protests to get civil liberties amended to acknowledge it. That's the entire point of social pressure. That's my entire point. And everything about social progress that you're asking has a law correlated with it. Social pressure was also called protests, which we also have with this ideology we're talking about. We also had social pressures by boycotts, by riots, by fights, by defamation.
Sure.
And yet we instituted legislation to protect people based on whatever their self-worth was. And that's the inevitability of the entire conversation I'm trying to have with you, which is you don't agree that it should be legislated, but social pressure should be instituted. In every point in history where social progress has changed, there has been a legislative change that has compelled society and the liberties within to adhere to those particular social pressures.
The legislation
that is an irrefutable fact.
I'm not advocating. No, I very distinctly said compelled speech. C16 in Ontario is misunderstood and got a lot of bad press. I don't agree with compelled speech.
I'm not saying that you do. What I'm saying is that the ideology that I don't support legislation, but I support social pressure, is historically identified that social pressure leads to laws. That's the whole point. So you can idealistically say that you don't support legislation and you only want to keep it under the realm of social pressure. That's fine. But I'm going to say to you, good fucking luck, because that's never happened in history, ever. And this is not any different. That's my whole point.
If a group of people are being discriminated against where they're not being treated equally as humans, and it takes legislation to do that, like with the civil rights movement, or we have our own struggles in Canada with the indigenous population. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes.
So you do agree that at some point where there may or may not be enough detriment to happen, social pressure isn't enough, and that the law has to step in, because under the current system we have now, everything that you just said that would be detrimental is already illegal. It's already all illegal. Discrimination, we have anti-discrimination laws.
Sure.
Oh, someone discriminates or hates on you based on gender, that's illegal. Based on skin color, that's also illegal. Based on sex, that's also illegal. Based on religion, that's also illegal.
Still happens, though.
It doesn't matter. But the eyes of the law
are there,
identify the fact that this action is deemed socially wrong or socially illegal. This is the whole point. It doesn't matter if it happens or not. You're still pushing the envelope into the mail slot known as we need legislation for this. But yet, at the beginning of the conversation, you said that you don't agree with that. And what I'm saying to you is that
compelled speech.
Right, that's legislation, meaning we would need to compel your speech and call it a particular hate speech or whatever the case might be. What I'm saying to you is the inevitability is if there's enough social pressure, it's going to lead to law. So your advocacy is, I believe in the social pressure up to when you think legislation is necessary. That's the whole thing. But what I'm trying to say to you, the whole climax of the point I've just said, is that if you start talking about social pressure as the primary key of change, it inevitably leads to law, is what I'm saying to you. So if someone wants to say social pressure is the key, I'm going to fight that, because we have historical relevancies to prove that social pressure is never enough and that the law is going to have to get in the way.
Well, is it the fault of the society that that there isn't equality, or that there's discrimination, or that there's some sort of rights abuse?
No, it's called freedom, because people are entitled to their own opinions and their own actions. They are also entitled to the consequences of their own actions as well. And it's very hard to agree that ideology specifically is something that should be legislated. The only thing ideologically that is legislated is religion, because I will say 100% that I do believe religion is ideological. I do believe that. But there are tangible applications of religion. This is the most tangible application of an ideology in history, ever. That's why personally I have an issue with it. But ideologically, it is very hard to be able to legislate self-worth. And that's why I asked you the questions I asked you in the beginning, is because this ideology specifically pertains to self-worth only. That's it. That's the whole issue. Religion is self-worth of themselves and for the group of people around them inherently. Like they gather in groups and they have a church or a gathering place or whatever whatever the doctrines might be. This is purely a mental ideological stance. And this whole gender change that they're doing.
Well, they're trying to impose their religious beliefs onto others. So your freedom is you're absolutely right. You have the freedom to do whatever you want, but your freedom ends at when you start to impose upon other people.
Exactly. That's exactly my whole point about the mental ideological stance people are making about gender. Is your belief and your right to believe what you want to believe about yourself only extends to the end of your fist. That's it. And they don't want that to be a thing.
When you're talking,
that's why I want to make. That's why I want to talk. That's why I wanted to talk about this for a second about all this. I should have got off about 10 minutes ago, but I wanted to address that because that's my problem with it. Like people can go around and try to ask other people to do whatever the thing is, but that's as far as you can go as you can ask. But the moment you start trying to socially compel or legislatively compel, then I have an issue with it.
Okay, Gamer.
Actually, let me make my final stance on that to give you my total affirmation of that. I feel so strongly about that. That's why I hate Jehovah's Witnesses. What I just said is exactly why I hate Jehovah's Witnesses, specifically because of what I just told you and everything that we just talked about for the last 10 minutes. Because they do the same thing. And I can't stand that.
Score to whatever. Can you speak and say your opinion?
I think I've done that. I'm not for compelled speech. I'm for people respecting other people as humans, and not a lot of the misunderstandings between sex and gender, an outdated understanding or idea of what those things mean. And it's been a couple of decades now where the authorities or the people really looking into it and studying it have separated the two. Sex and gender are different. And we have many examples of people who identify differently than their genitalia suggests. So it's just about respecting another human. If somebody can't do that, well, there may be consequences, and that might be they're socially isolated or they're not well liked or whatever the case may be.
Right. Punishment for having your own belief.
Oh, I don't know if it's punishment. I think it's
social isolation is a form of punishment. That's why we also call it jail.
Well, I'm not talking
I'm about to, Tyler, in a few minutes.
I'm not talking about
the problem is when the real problem with that particular sentiment, because I don't necessarily disagree, but the issue is
you said free speech and has consequences. That's all I'm talking about.
I wish consequences weren't thrown around as casually as they are. I have real big issues with that. Like social castration, like you just mentioned earlier, like social isolation, I just call it social castration, is a form of punishment. Defamation is a form of punishment. It's, I don't know.
If you behave in a manner that sets you at odds with the people around you and they don't want to associate with you, that's a consequence.
I wouldn't call it a consequence if it's a proactive or mutual choice. Meaning if you and I, as two human beings, say that this is who we are and I'm A and you're B, and I don't believe that you're B, I believe that you're A, and you believe that you're B, doesn't matter if I believe that you're A, and we understand that this is our beliefs and we separate and we segregate away from each other, that's not punishment. It's a mutual decision.
Sure,
the punishment is trying to say that social isolation, which was a form of punishment you just mentioned earlier, is even okay to do. Like, don't talk to this guy because they're a phobic something, whatever stupid slur people want to throw around so casually. just because someone doesn't agree with an ideology doesn't mean that you inherently should give someone a derogative slur.
I don't agree with defaming people to others. I'm not advocating for that at all. If you don't respect,
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying I have an issue with that.
Just clarifying.
Yeah, no. I got you. No, you and I are pretty
with doxing. I don't agree with persecuting people with other people and defaming, slander, libel. I don't agree with any of that. But if you and I have an issue, somebody says, hey, why don't you go hang out with Steve? I'm like, hey, I don't really care for Steve so much. Okay, fair enough. You and I are not going to see each other socially, and whatever that means. I'm not saying, well, you should be run out of town or jailed or charged or criminalized, or I'm not advocating for that at all.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that you are. I know what your stance is. I'm just trying to provide some neutrality to it, because not enough neutrality is brought when this particular conversation happens, because it's very conflicting on both ends. Really and I don't think that it has to be as conflicting that it is. But the reason that I think we can kind of end the conversation from here, but I think the reason why the conflict is so pertinent in American society with this is because of the social pressure aspect that we were talking about earlier, and the inevitability that occurs with social pressure, which is legislative protection, or legislation that's compulsory, like the C-16 bill, or the 4 cities in California that have passed these types of laws and stuff like that label intentional misgender as a actionable crime, where people can pay fines or minute amounts of jail time. These laws do exist, that this is a thing, but the whole thing is this is no exception. And what I want to bring to light is, if anyone ever advocates for anything and their idea of getting that to be a normality in society, they usually talk about weaponizing some form of social pressure, protests, boycotts, marches, parades, whatever the fuck it is. But the inevitability is all social pressure, if pressured hard enough, doesn't turn into a diamond. It turns into a law. And that's just it's just how the world has evolved for several thousand years.
I get what you're saying, and I don't think we're really at odds very much. So I don't agree with jailing people or persecuting people. If you're actually attacking someone, and I don't believe that, unless there's inherent threats and call to violence in the speech, I don't believe that speech is violence. That's not my stance at all. I've had violence done to me, and I've done violence, and it's not talking.
Yeah, and again, that's why I've never said specifically about what you advocated for, except to show you the linearity of what you wanted to represent and where it can lead. That's all I'm trying to do. Create some neutral awareness of where these social ideologies go, and what they can inevitably lead to based on historical consistencies. So that's all. I don't have any issues with what you want to represent or advocate for, or whatever the case might be.
I'm not into canceling people or deplatforming. I think bad speech is combated with better speech, and I'm not into legislating away people's rights to conduct themselves as they want, as long as they're not infringing on somebody else.
Right. So, but that, I think, is going to do it for me. I think that if you don't think it's an ideological thing, you might want to look into it a little bit more, because that's what mental spectrums are.
I know it's an ideology.
No, I'm not talking to you. You and I are pretty crystal on each other.
Cool. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. No problem, man. Come back anytime. We can continue this. We can continue whatever conversation you want. I'll be on tonight as well at 11:30 Central, about 11:30 Central Time.
Cool. Much love and health to everybody.
Yeah, man. Take care.
Okay, take care. Okay. I want to go, so okay. Thank you, brother. Okay, thank you, Sarah. Okay. Bye
You're
bye.
welcome,
See you
Kristen.
later.
Take care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll message you after the live.
Yeah, all you have to do is join my. If anybody wants to have any conversations with anyone besides me, or if they want to have a conversation with me off the live, just I would say just be bold enough to click on the link in my bio, and you can talk to any one of us in Discord about anything that you guys want, as well as any articles, any information, any laws, any legislation, any news, any debate topics. It's all categorized for you on the Discord platform. Link is in my bio. So if anyone's bold enough to want to try to debate off live, link's right up there. So, but I'm gonna go ahead.
But I came across a lot of freaking lives, and what you looking at all the time? Like, is there a game or something? You keep looking at the side.
What are you talking about, Shadow?
You keep looking at the side somewhere.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at my Discord channel. I have like a whole command center right here.
Yeah, but that's the point. Like, I got from TikTok. I got they post the link, but you can't click on it, and I can't get it.
On my all you have to do is click on my link tree, and then there's either an icon. There's actually both. There's an icon for the Discord symbol, and there's a link. It just says Discord, and all you have to do is click on Discord, and it'll take you to the server.
Look at the MDB. Maybe he want to jump in the box.
Yeah, but I already said that I was getting off, and I should have got off about 10 minutes ago. We don't have to debate in private. I'll 100% stream my debate. And if you want to have a debate with 10 or 12 or 15 or 18 or 20 other people at the same time, be bold enough to do it in Discord. We don't always have to do it on live. I have Discord available to me all day. I can't go live until after my kids go to sleep.
Oh, look at this.
So,
he's actually posting why debating private.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all the information is available for anyone to post whatever they want or ask to have any debates whenever they want within the Discord server. And it's all streamable, it's all accessible, it's all postable. It is what it is.
No.
If so,
MDB is. Can you not see the chat here? MDB.
Yeah, Shadow. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you off. And it's always a pleasure having you. And I appreciate you coming on. And I'll see you tonight. I'll be on again tonight at 11:30 Central Time.
I mean, you can call me out all you want, and I'm gonna say that if you're bold enough, you would just come into Discord. So if not, you want to use that as an excuse, I mean, that's up to you. But you're more than welcome to join the Discord channel, man. If you want to think it's private when 20 people can simultaneously watch it at the same time, it's up to you, man. Or you can come back at 11:30 Central Time, and you'd be the first one in the box. So, but I'm going to jump off and get a little power nap in, and I'll catch you guys on later tonight. All right. Take care, guys.
Yang menerima 10 perintah Tuhan itu bangsa itu diajak rame-rame loh ketemu Tuhan. Musa mengajak bangsa itu sama-sama bertemu Tuhan. Sewaktu mereka mendengar suara Tuhan dengan gemuruh itu, mereka sendiri gemeter sampai mereka katakan, enggak lah Musa, udah biar kami di sini aja, kamu aja yang ketemu Tuhan, karena mereka takut, Pak. Iya. Jadi apa? Di sini menyatakan bukti yang jelas, bukan hanya klaim Musa satu orang. Di Alkitab bukan menceritakan tentang klaim hanya kata Musa, kata Musa, kata Musa, kata Musa, dari Musa, dari Musa, dari Musa, kata Musa, kata Musa. Enggak, Pak. Segenap bangsa itu melihat bagaimana mereka berjalan dengan Musa untuk bertemu, mempunyai mempunyai pengalaman pertemuan dengan Tuhan yang hidup itu. Luar biasa kan, Pak?
Tapi begitu juga tetap aja bandel ya, tegar tengkuk. Mereka udah lihat sendiri. Aduh, benar-benar Israel ini memang kelewatan.
Benar, Miss. Maka dikatakan di dalam Alkitab juga yang terakhir, yang awal itu jadi terakhir, yang terakhir menjadi yang awal. Sebetulnya keselamatan tuh bagi mereka dulu loh, Miss.
Aduh, memang orang Israel ini sengaja lawan, kata orang Ambon bilang mah.
Sing nggak ada duanya.
Aku keluar dulu ya, join dengan keluarga dulu.
Oke, Miss. Aku juga mau keluar, teman-teman. Pak Wesley mau gabung yang lebih hot dulu. Pak Wesley, terima kasih.
Makasih. Salam tong, iya, makasih banyak.
Makasih ya, Pak Wesley.
Iya, sama-sama.
Lagi teman. Pak Yon, kalau mendengarkan, Bu Sofi, kalau mendengarkan, mohon izin. Tuhan berkati. God bless.
God bless.
Ya, teman-teman, terima kasih ya. Teman-teman, terima kasih semuanya yang udah setia nih. Hostnya juga udah lemes nih. Hostnya juga udah lemes ya. Teman-teman, terima kasih sekali lagi yang di live chat ya. Juga Ibu Sopiatul nih ya. Ya, terima kasih semuanya teman-teman. Tetap semangat ya. Jaga kesehatan selalu ya. Yang buat tap layar, yang sudah memberikan gift, yang sudah ya chat lah ya, ikut meramaikan room Ion ya, diskusi akal sehat ya. Oke, terima kasih teman-teman. Tuhan Yesus memberkati dimanapun kita berada ya. Salam teman-teman. Bu Sopi, saya tutup ya Bu Sopi ya. Oke, salam semuanya.
Alah. Astagfirullah. Kepental.
Gitu. Bagaimana ketika kita melakukan hal yang memang tidak berlandaskan akan perasaan di sini, karena kita bahasnya di sini bab ciuman ya. Itu kan tentunya nggak mungkin kita lakukan gitu. Udah pasti masuk akal lah di akal kita bahwa ini hal yang sangat tidak logis gitu. Apalagi ini kita lakukan pada sesama jenis.
Ulo katanya matanya tidak juling, Dajjal matanya juling. Nah itu kan, nih saya kasih lihat nih, Rob kalian ya, maka ketahuilah bahwa Rob kalian tidak bermata juling. Nah, jika Allah nggak punya wujud, Allah tidak berwujud, lalu matanya yang tidak juling itu digantung di mana? Ditempatkan di mana?
Iya, Pak. Aduh, Pak. Gini, jangan bikin saya ketawa gitu loh, Pak. Maksudnya gitu loh, Pak. Itu adalah hadis agar umatnya waspada tentang Dajjal. Kemudian Nabi itu ciri-ciri Dajjal.
Oke. Gini.
Tapi jelaskan juga itu wujudnya Tuhan. Wujudnya Allah seperti apa itu ada penjelasan juga.
Kita kembali ke sini karena kamu tidak tahu ya keberadaan Allah atau apa, kamu nggak tahu walau alam, makanya kamu kasih pencerahan dari petunjuk yang Muhammad katakan bahwa Allah Subhanahu wa taala tidak bermata juling. Allah Subhanahu wa taala matanya tidak buta sebelah, matanya normal. Nah, kalau Allah nggak punya wujud, matanya itu digantung di mana? Ataukah mata Allah melayang-layang?
Udahlah Bang, udahlah. Kita akan pernah ketemu, jangan bertanya seperti itu lagi.
Udah, nggak apa-apa.
Oke, aku tanya ya, Asta.
Kan masyarakat Muslim juga tidak pernah setuju seperti itu. Oke, silakan.
Atau saya tambahkan satu data aja, satu lagi. Oke, satu lagi ya. Ini. Oke, satu lagi di dalam arti. Oke.
Tangan punya juga.
Oh, punya. Tangannya dua semua. Kanan. Bro Indra pernah baca nggak hadis Allah tangannya kanan dua-dua? Pernah baca nggak? Belum. Oke. Nah, ini kita baca. Gimana? Pernah baca nggak hadis tangannya Allah itu dua-duanya kanan? Pernah baca nggak?
Oh iya.
Oh pernah, udah kalau pernah. Nah di sini ya, dari Abdullah bin Abu Salamah bahwa Ibnu Umar mengirim utusan kepada Ibnu Abbas untuk menanyakan kepada Muhammad, apakah Muhammad pernah melihat Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Maka Ibnu Abbas mengirim utusan kepadanya untuk menyampaikan, iya, katanya iya, Muhammad pernah melihat Allah. Lalu Ibnu Umar mengirim utusan kepadanya, bagaimana Muhammad melihat Allah? Ibnu Abbas berkata, Muhammad melihat Allah di atas kursi. Jadi,
aras tuh ya.
Ya, Muhammad melihat Allah di atas kursi dari emas, dipangku oleh 4 orang malaikat. Nikmat Allah mana lagi yang kau mau dustakan, Bro Indra? Muhammad melihat Allah duduk di atas kursi emas, dipangku oleh 4 orang malaikat. Nah, kalau Allah nggak punya wujud, apa yang dilihat oleh Muhammad? Apakah Muhammad sedang berhalusinasi?
Bang, gini Bang, itu ini Bang, hadis itu gini Bang, itu kan ada hadis-hadis yang harus ditakwil, ada hadis yang harus ditahwid namanya.
Oh, sudah. Ini sudah
ditakwil.
Ini sudah ini takwil dari Imam Azhabi ini sudah. Nih. Imam Azhabi, imam loh. Kamu bukan imam.
Iya,
tapi jangan...
harus ditakwil.
Iya, udah masak.
Kenapa
ini
lagi harus ditakwil? Itu
ini
udah jelas.
Ini kalau ibaratnya makanan, udah siap saji, tinggal kau makan.
Berarti hadis nggak bisa berdiri sendiri dong, harus ditakwil lagi.
Nah, nih, takik. Doktor, ini berlapis-lapis, takwilnya berlapis-lapis. Nih, takik.
Nah, itu sudah ditahkik dari Muhammad bin Khalifah At-Tamimi.
Nah, apalagi yang kau mau dustakan? Nih.
Enggak, takwil itu artinya apa sih Bang? Kok malah jadi takwil itu lawannya misalkan gitu Bang, saya ceritakan gini ya.
Lanjut Pak.
Biar paham. Di surat
iya.
Itu ada ayat bunyinya gitu. Itu wahi fauqa aydihim. Tangan Allah itu di atas segala tangan gitu loh.
Iya, ayat itu enggak usah ditakwil.
Tangan kayak kita punya.
Kenapa harus ditakwil? Kalau Anda menyatakan tangannya seperti manusia, Anda yang mentakwil. Nggak boleh itu ditakwil.
Iya.
Nanti Anda jadi bid'ah.
Kalau gini loh, itu kan tangan Allah di atas. Nanti maknanya jadinya Allah punya tangan gitu loh. Paham enggak? Kalau enggak ditakwil, maknanya artinya Allah punya tangan. Jadi harus ditakwil, tangan di situ maksudnya kekuasaan. Sama saja dengan Soeharto.
Anda mentakwil itu dengan kekuasaan.
Soeharto itu tangannya dari gitu.
Kekuasaan itu juga manusia punya. Berarti Anda mentakwil Tuhan berarti kayak manusia. Kekuasaan juga manusia punya.
Bukan.
Anda mentakwil kekuasaan.
Kekuasaan Tuhan.
Nah, itu berarti tangannya Tuhan beda juga dengan tangannya manusia. Itu sudah ayat sudah jelas, jangan ditatawil lagi.
Iya.
Indra,
makanya kan gini. Wah, di atas segala tangan kan. Itu maknanya bukan kalau tidak ditakwil nanti artinya
apa tawilnya?
Tangan.
Apa tawilnya? Tawilnya apa? Kekuasaan. Kekuasaan.
Iya.
Kekuasaan tawilnya. Manusia juga punya kekuasaan.
Di atas.
Berarti sama aja dengan kekuasaan manusia. Nggak boleh kayak gitu.
Loh, makanya itu ayatnya ya dua fauqaidihim kekuasaan
Tuhan. Itu udah jelas tuh, benar. Udah imani saja kayak gitu cukup. Jangan ditakut-tawilkan lagi. Justru mentakwil itu nanti kalian.
Jadi udah karena Bro Indra gini Bro Indra, bro, karena kamu juga tidak tahu, kita juga di sini bawa data bukan karang-karang, ya. Iya. Karena jawabanmu kan walau alam. Kita kasih tahu dari referensi literatur kamu, dari perkataan Muhammad, dari perkataan para imam. Lalu kamu menolaknya. Tetapi kamu tidak pernah membawa satupun data pembuktian bahwa Allah nggak begitu, Allah nggak begini. Begitu. Nah, kalau kamu punya pembuktian, silakan kamu buktikan keberadaan Allah itu apa. Kalau bukan ruh yang tadi kita baca, lalu apa keberadaannya? Jangan bilang kamu Allah gentayangan ya, nggak boleh, dosa kau. Silakan.
Iya, jadi
aku mau tegasin lagi nih tadi nih. Benar. Aku mau negesin lagi nih tadi yang itu roh Allah tuh kamu sanggah. Lah pengertian kamu roh Allah itu gimana?